to share. Okay. Okay. So when you open your 2D seed file, it should be empty. It should be empty. Shouldn't have anything. If you fit view, there shouldn't be any sort of line work or any settings set or a DU file embedded. And I guess just to kind of refresh, I guess I don't know how if you've interacted with this before, but this is kind of where you select like what you want to do in ORD. And it changes but based on the section that you're in, it changes the features that are available. So for our purpose, we're gonna stick to the drainage and utilities section up here. And the first thing you want to do with your 2D seed file is establish your coordinate system. So we come to our search ribbon here. You can type in coordinate or COO and it'll start popping up. And we select our coordinate system. And if you have a clean DGN file, there should not be a coordinate system. There shouldn't be anything. So for you guys. Okay. And so to set it, you go here to your library. You go to search. And I'm gonna use the surface that we used in the HMS practice. So I'm going to use the 4203 coordinate system again.
So we're recording.
Yes. Recording and yeah, should be recording.
Are you sharing your screen?
No. Do I need to? Oh yeah, because it doesn't record it. It doesn't record the screen. Um, okay. So just to backtrack, whenever you open a fresh 2D seed file, it shouldn't have anything saved in it. And the first thing you need to do is establish your coordinate system. So in this top right search ribbon, you can type in COO and you'll see coordinate system pop up here. You can open it and it should be empty. But if you go here to the library, and then if you go to the search tab, you can type in the number for the coordinate system that you need. Because the surface that I'm going to use is in the Austin area, I'm going to use the 4203, which is Texas Central. And you'll see them here pop up. So I'm going to use the NAD 1983 Texas Central 4203 feet. And you do have to click on the key name. If you try to click here, for some reason it doesn't work. So make sure you click on the key name. And so now you'll see it show up here. So now if you reference in a shape file that's georeferenced, it'll land where it's supposed to, but you may have to scale it. ORD does have a function to be able to use their aerial. And in order for the aerial to line up correctly, like their aerial, we always use the Helmer transformation. So if we come here to our properties, our details, you'll see the different properties for that coordinate system. Here in the local transform type, we change that to Helmer transform. And then we use the transformation that's established for this area, which I haven't had a project here, but I did some Google searching and I think it's this one. So then I would type that in here. And then, so 30102227. Press OK. Here it's gonna ask me if I want to continue. That's okay. And so now it's set. So coordinate system is set. Now, once I set my coordinate system, if I come to this view attributes menu here, my ORD has been glitchy and I've been getting this warning. I've just been closing out and hoping it doesn't crash. But this view attribute window, you can open it here through this drop-down menu and it'll pop up here. Or or you can click into the actual window. I have to click into it because for some reason the drop-down menu isn't working for me. And this is the glitchy part about ORD. Uh, but here you'll see that there's a background map type. If you don't have an area that you can bring in, you can work off of this. You can select a hybrid and you'll see it load in the background. And this can help with like for the land use shapes. So that's why we're bringing in the area. Okay, so there it is. Now, so now that we have our coordinate system, um, we have our aerial. I'm going to attach the surface that I sent you guys. So I'm going to come here to attach references. And then this window pops up and I'm going to go to attach reference here with the little firework. And I'm going to go to the surface file. Um, so this is the surface. And so now if I fit view, it should take me to that location. So you see it show up here now. Have to clip it so that it's not so glitchy.
Surface from ArcGIS, right?
From
Or-
So I got the LiDAR from the TextGeo website.
Right.
And then in the 3D seed file, I brought in the LiDAR to make the surface.
Okay.
So now you can see here I have my contours. And I can rotate my view. Okay. So now I have my surface, right? I have it referenced. In order to be able to use that surface and to actually be able to, let's say, cut cross sections and things like that, you have to make the surface active. So if you hover over the boundary, the outer boundary of the surface, if you click on it and kind of like hover over it, you'll see a pop-up menu like this. And you just click here, set as active terrain model. So anytime I want to use, let's say like this civil analysis tool, um, say, let's say civil, I'll use my civil analysis tool. I can click on the surface and it'll tell me the specific elevation at that point. And it'll also, so it's kind of like to help you delineate better because you said you are doing delineations in ORD. So I feel like sometimes maybe you can't really tell what's going on, or there's not as many contours, it's not as dense. Sometimes you can hover over, use this, or you can also draw a line and then cut a profile. So let's say, for example, I want to see what the terrain is doing here. I can come to my drawing tab, play smart line, let's say. This is just a dummy microstation line. I can just draw it. Um, I can open a second view, and then if I click on the line, if I click on the line and hover over it, you'll see this menu pop up. And if you click this open profile model, and then you click in the view that you opened, you'll see the surface show up. So yes, you can read the contours. I mean, sometimes it's not as dense, so this kind of helps to kind of like just visualize better. I'm a visual person, so to me it helps. Um, so that can help with delineating drainage areas.
Yeah, this is miles, I just wanna praise it, these miles ahead of what I was doing, right? Even the contours we had weren't even labeled with elevations, I would have to have our like a road map for our
Mhm.
county all open on one side.
Oh, and then
The actual
compare.
elevations and then like the micro station and then.
And you can edit this actually. So once you have your surface, you can, if you come to, I'm gonna dock my properties here. So if you press Control I, it'll open that property menu, and I'm gonna dock it so that it stays. And if I click on any contour, any part of the surface, you'll see these properties show up for the surface. Um, and if you come here to override symbology, and if you switch it to yes, you'll be able to modify how you see the terrain. So let's say I have too much going on, there's too much line work. I can change my minor contours, you can turn them off, and I'm only left with the major. And that still gives me a good picture, of like what's going on here. Um, for labeling, we can go to, if we scroll to the top here, let me shrink this down a little bit. If we go to the contours here, I have my major contours turned on. And if I click on it, I'll see that there's more options here. And I can say display text. And so that's what's going to give me the elevations for each contour. So if for some reason they're not showing, or um, sometimes when you bring it in raw, sometimes when you bring in like a fresh surface, you'll just see the boundary, like this outer boundary, and you have to come in here and kind of tweak it, modify it so that it's easier for you to use or usable. Um, and same thing here for the minor contours. You can change that information here. You can change their color so that they're more appealing, maybe like a white. You can change that here in this section. And that would be it from here. You can turn on more detailed points of the surface. Like for example, these low points, flow arrows, but there's so much data that it's overwhelming, and it makes it so heavy that it's just not going to work for you. So maybe if you have like a survey is more, it's a smaller area, it's just a project area. So maybe for that it might work a little bit better. But when it's like a big LiDAR data like this, it's too overwhelming. Um,
Trim, like I know you referenced it in, so like do you ever use it's called like in the references, in the attached tools references, like boundary?
yes, you can do that
You
too.
can do that too.
You can do that. You can treat it as like a normal reference, where you can clip it, uh, make it smaller so that it's not as heavy.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's that. That should help with delineating, hopefully.
This is very exciting.
And then I'm gonna keep it easy here. Okay, so I can see that my surface is a little shifted, right? Because this pond here should be here. So I need to apply my scale factor to the surface. And once again, it's gonna be this one. And this doesn't affect your calculations. This is just for file management to be able to move files between. I mean, when you're in ORD, that's all you need. But sometimes what happens is that, um, let's say the H&H team, if it's a roadway project, the H&H team has their own drainage areas. And for offsite drainage areas. And then sometimes the drainage design team can bring in H&H shape files into the DGN to kind of get a general idea of what the offsite area already is. And then they modify it for their drainage design purpose. So kind of like what we showed you guys with HMS, do it in HMS first, get a general boundary, bring it in here, clean it up
Okay.
for what you need. So, so that's our surface. Oh, I didn't shift it. So scale it. Scaled it too far. Always have to play with it to see which one's gonna give me. And because I got these from Google, they might not be. Let me see. See. Okay, let me. I just keep it like this for now. Um, I feel like with every project, you always kind of have to see, depending on who's giving you the data and where it's coming from, you always have to kind of play with it. And sometimes what we even have to do is shift the surface in GIS first, like the LiDAR, and then bring it into ORD. So sometimes it takes like some manipulation. But for now, I'm gonna leave it like this. It doesn't affect your hydrology calculations. It's more so for visualization for the land use, which I kind of need. We'll leave it like this for now. Mm,
So just a quick question, going back. So when you brought in this surface from the attached tools,
mhm.
it's called surface. Did you say you created the surface, the contours from LiDAR?
Correct.
Okay, so you don't post that you did.
Yes. Yeah, that's like a backscene step that I did. If we have time, I can kind of run through it and see how that's made. It's very simple.
Yeah,
You just need the 3D seed file and then you bring in the LiDAR and it makes it for you. Um,
I know for Texas, they had Wilson County at 1.0012,
oh,
which is low.
let me try that.
That's the scaling factor, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well,
201.
3012. So it was pretty close to what you had already.
yeah,
Sometimes I see 09, yeah.
either that one or it's first, right?
Yeah.
I've seen 08 and 09 as well, 008, 009. But I get your point.
Yeah. We're gonna run with this for now. This. And we're gonna keep it general here. So that's how you would modify your terrain here. Um, but the real important part that we're looking for is to really be able to calculate hydrology inside of our DDU, right? So the surface is really just to help us be able to lineate. It doesn't help the calculations. And we're using the resources inside of our DDU to be able to do that. So in the drop-down menu, make sure you're in drainage and utilities. And then if you come to the layout tab, you'll see all these different tools to be able to place drainage elements. When you click into any of these, any tool that's drainage related, if I click into here, you'll see this pop-up menu for the very first time. So when you have a fresh new seed file and you click on a drainage element, you'll get this pop-up. And what this pop-up is saying is that it's asking if you're okay with it embedding a drainage and utility project into this DGN. You're going to press yes. And that just means that within this DGN, it's going to have your DU model saved in here. So you're not going to have multiple files that you have to like bring in. Kind of like how HMS has all these different files that it needs to be able to run. Or DDU keeps everything inside this DGN. Here it's asking if I want a compact database. That's okay. And you might get that pop up randomly anytime. So this might take a while.
So OpenRoads always does.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm working and it just takes a pause, I'm like, okay, this is my break. I'm gonna talk or whatever.
And then you go back and it's still
Yeah.
lost.
So that's the basic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it's like shifted.
Yeah.
I can.
But the roadway was right. Right?
No, the entire LiDAR is shifted down
Oh,
a little bit. For like this. I can move it. That's against any practice. Don't ever.
Right.
not supposed to.
You're not supposed to move it. Don't drag it. Um. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't usually use the background aerial. We have our like tiles kind of thing, like we did them in pieces.
Okay.
Right. Some like the project that I have right now, it's not matching up exactly. And I just dragged the aerial to
Uh-huh.
on where they found like a corner of like a sign or something that's definitely there. And it just worked, but yeah.
Yeah, I always have to. Because sometimes I'm moving data between GIS and ORD. Um, and it's like a little bit of a trial and error to get it right.
I think that's been with everybody.
Mhm.
And there's sometimes where you'll get a survey for an adjacent development and they'll use a different factor.
Mhm.
And you
Yep.
have to combine the combined factor
Yes.
and so I get this that you created a projection. I get what I don't get is why did you actually do a transformation?
Mhm.
Because you're doing a scale adjustment in the reference dialog box.
I may have not needed the scale. The only reason I did it was because I wanted to use their background satellite, their aerial image. Um,
Because it made me think what you did was that you got a state plane and then you said, okay, let's transform that to the surface adjustment
mhm.
and that transformation. So it seemed like it kind of,
I think I double. I can try it. Let me see. You can.
but you're right, you have to play around with that lot field, and then when you get that one deal, that one attempt, you'll just, everything will line up.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna get some hand sanitizer for y'all.
Thank you.
Please clean your hands or something. Thank you.
Yeah, that's why if we can come back and do like a at least QGIS training, I think you would.
I would be very interested.
That would, yeah.
It would have to be like fall or something. Well, this like this weekend I start my PE
Mm-hmm.
classes, and then I'm gonna be working like half days just studying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think
Oh, that's
I would get trained in it and then not use it.
Mm-hmm.
And that would just not be good. So we got banned from my group.
For what? For
Don't tell me why.
band?
I was like, what happened? Well,
Like,
I'm in like the local Wilco Youth Down chapter. We had a debate last night. I
Mhm.
guess one of the aides, one of the candidates, did something to get him permanently banned. I'm like, I don't want to know what it was because I'm nosy. And this guy texts in the group chat like he's banned. Like I'm so sorry for his behavior. And I text, what happened? Because I want to know. And he's like, if you don't know, it's okay. No, it's not.
That's when you start a second group chat.
Yeah, I'm about to text somebody. Yeah, I don't know.
I found out that we don't have hand sanitizer.
I have some in my office, but it's really old.
Yeah, I know, but, well, not that I know, but that it don't have that. But they got a whole freaking stack of these things.
What? For
What?
what?
We call them butt wipes, but anyway.
No.
But, they're, where the pencil sharpeners at?
Yeah.
Just up there, and they're like,
That's so random. But also, we'll have the most random stuff in the kitchen. There'll be like 500 boxes of Lipton iced tea. I'm like,
you wanna what, right? Yeah.
thank you. Oh, I expect that to be that hard.
Thank you.
The only place that used to have hand wipes was KFC, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, they had little moist outlets. That looks more like aloe. Alright, this is how. So to me, it seems like this is another way that you could be just working R and D.
This,
If we don't get the open source Q, whatever it's called,
Yeah.
QGIS.
this helps a lot because basically the process for like 332,
Uh-huh.
I had to do the hydrology before I do the design, right? So I went in, referenced those shape files, hand delineated them. They don't have any contour elevation, so I have to like compare that to our online map. It just takes forever. And it's a huge area. And then I get it all delineated. All of that could have been cut short by this. So
Well, now you know how helps all the ways you can
mhm.
attack something. Sometimes you don't have everything you need or know what you don't know.
Well, this project has taken me forever. I went from like 0 to knowing something. Like I did all of the hydraulic calculation in Excel because I didn't know there was tools for it. And then I had a coworker was like, hey, you don't have to be on that.
Excel, so,
Yeah,
because you prepare all your
you're very cool.
variables that you have.
Okay. So this is a good example. I'm gonna assume this is a drainage area. I'm gonna build one without looking at my contours because they're misplaced. But if I come here to the layout, it finished embedding that that DU model, that DU file. So now I can actually start clicking into all these tools and start placing things. So place nodes just means placing an inlet, head wall, any type of entrance structure that's going to receive water, or like even a manhole. Um, but what we're interested in right now is in the hydrology. So before you start building anything in the model, you have to establish the basic parameters that you're going to be using to calculate the hydrology. So for that, we can come to the analysis tab, and if we go to alternatives, and if we come to the rainfall runoff section here and select on sample city 10 year, this is where we're going to select what storm event and for what county we want ORDDU to use to calculate those peak flows. And these are all from the text dot. They basically put in here all of the text dot IDF values. So we're gonna go to, excuse me. We're gonna go to Williamson Brushy Creek zone. Let's do 2 year. And that's all you have to adjust here. Everything else is coming from like the text dot library. So you don't have to worry about anything else. And the first, and right now it's going to use the rational method to calculate these peak flows. And so here for good practice, I like to rename this into using the name that I selected here. So Williamson, to right click, rename Williamson Hershey Creek zone, and I selected 2 year. So it's going to use this rainfall data to generate the peak flows. Second thing is my land use. So TxDOT has preset C coefficients that are used for the rational method. Because for the rational method, if we remember, the equation is Q equals C times A, C times I times A. And so in the TxDOT library, they have preset coefficients, but sometimes we don't, we use our own from our own engineering judgment. So you can change those. So you can run it and use their library coefficients, but you can also set your own, which I think gives you more control. And to do that, we come to components and we come to this catalog drop-down menu. We come to land cover. And here I can build my own C coefficients that I want to choose from. So I just press new, and let's say I'm going to use pass. And I'm going to give it a runoff coefficient of 3. And then I'm going to do land cover for what, pavement. 1.0. I'm going to use and I'll add water. I'm going to say And so those are the values that ORDDU is going to use once I start building things. So now that you establish those like starting parameters, now you can start placing those catchment areas. So first, you can start off by placing your drainage area. What I like to do first is that with the contours that I had brought in, I like to first make a dummy microstation shape. So let's say that this is going to be my drainage area. I'll make it a little bit wider. So I'm going to say that from here to here to here, here. So it's like that. Let's say that's my drainage area. This right now is just like a dummy microstation line, and you know that because you can see these handle holders. You can move these, and it's just a normal shape with no settings, no characteristics. Um, and first I delineate like that. So I establish those drainage areas. And then to actually turn them into DU elements, I come to layout, place catchment. And there's different methods that you can use to build those drainage areas. But from all of these three methods, the most reliable is pick shape. And pick shape just means that I'm gonna select a shape that I already pre-made. Um, so then I'm gonna make sure that this is drainage area. So it's selected to drainage area. And then here you can start naming them, name your drainage area. You can change this after, um, or you can name it along the way as well. It's up to you. We can look at the flux table right now, like where it shows all that information. But now I'm going to left click to accept that I want to use pick shape. And I'm going to click on the shape that I want to use. I want to use this one. And, oh, that's right. I need an alpha. Okay, let me backpedal a little bit. Sorry. We have to, before we start placing our catchment areas, we have to place a node that's going to accept that drainage area. And what we've done in some projects is that when we're doing in the hydrology and ORDDU, like for design for ditch projects, we'll develop the hydrology here, the design team will, and they place almost like dummy nodes, you could say, um, to receive that flow so that the drainage area will actually compute, so that the flow will actually compute. So let me backpedal here. Let's say I have my drainage area, right? It's still a dummy shape. It's not an ORDDU element yet. I'm going to come to place node. And I'm going to select a inlet that can accept that water. For this example, I'm just going to use a PCO inlet. And these are the text dot drainage inlets from their uh, drainage design, the criteria from their here from their drainage standards. So that's what these are here. I don't know if you've ventured in here, but you can kind of see if you don't know what these abbreviations are, like PCO underscore 6, you can come here to the bridge standards, the text dot bridge standards, come down to the drainage section, and here we have PCO. And if you open the standard, you'll see the type of inlet that it's going to place.
That's crazy because I was telling someone like I very much struggle with those abbreviations in there.
Oh,
And I've used the bridge standards. I just never correlated that they were the same
yeah,
abbreviations. So that's really cool.
yeah, and you can kind of like tie it together. I know they have details here. like the junction boxes. Sometimes they say your PSL or just an SL, different styles. You can see what's what here. RC, RH. Right? So this can help you kind of like put two and two together. So right now I'm gonna use that almost like a curb inlet. Um, I'm gonna reset, gonna right click to reset and not put in elevation. Because we've noticed that when you place an elevation, it locks you to that elevation. Um, so I'm just gonna reset, manually type in an elevation. For this purpose, it doesn't matter because I'm not doing a hydraulic analysis. I'm only doing this for hydrology develop. So I'm gonna accept left click. And here you can see now that it placed the inlet. And rotation mode, you can switch between absolute or relative to alignment. Relative to alignment just means that if I have a roadway alignment, I can click on that alignment and it'll place the node based off that alignment and it'll give it a stationing and an offset. But I don't have one, so I'm just going to use absolute. And absolute just means that I can rotate it in any direction that I want. So see now I can rotate here. And I'm just going to place it this way. It's fine. And the reason why I'm placing this dummy node is because if I build my hydrology and my drainage area and its land use and everything, it's not going to run. It's not going to calculate that peak flow. So this is really just a dummy node. Okay. And now I can close out of this tool. So I have my drainage area there. This is my dummy drainage area. This is my ORDDU inlet. And even here you can see now that this doesn't look like this. Like this dummy line has those blue handles versus this DU element um doesn't have anything like that. Because this cell here is built in the textile library in a very it's more in-depth, but they basically build it out of different components to make it like a 3D shape. But now that we have an outfall that can receive this drainage area, and we have this dummy drainage area shape, we can come here to place catchment. And this just means like place your drainage area. Pick shape, make sure we're using the pick shape method. We left click accept, we select our shape, and now it says select outflow. And now we're going to click on the dummy inlet that we placed. And it's going to say select reference surface, reset, or to pick your active terrain. You can pick your active terrain. It won't change your results. So we can just right click accept. And now you'll see that the shape changed. And so now we click on it, you don't see those blue handles anymore. Now this is an actual DU future. And if I hover over it or click on it and hover over it, I see this menu pop up here. And if I go to my utility properties, I can see here so I'm using the rational method and I can set my TC time here. You said you guys use an Excel. You can calculate that in Excel and then you can come here to this section and select user defined TC. And here you would input your own TC time. So you still need to do some back work outside, but at least you can come in and put it here.
Yeah.
And right now it doesn't have any flows because it hasn't computed. But we have our drainage area now, and we have that drainage area size. We have our TC. Um, and so now all we need is the land use. So for the land use, excuse me, we can come here to place land use area. And once again, I like to, well, you kind of have to let's take a step back here because you don't want to double count land use, right? So you don't want there to be, um, let's say, for example, in this area, you have grass, um, join, can't, three, this, oh my gosh.
Really trying to.
I'm trying to click behind here, but this little,
Oh. Like you can usually, oh, there's a handle on the left-hand side, you can replay it.
oh my gosh. Did not know that. Okay. Um, so I want to come in here. I just learned something this whole time. Oh my God. Okay. Um, what was I doing? Oh yeah, so drawing. So if I come to drawing here, let's say for example, my water boundary is something like this, right? Say it's something like that. And then I have grass here, right? So realistically, let me go ahead and use this shape. Make this something like this. Should be more detailed, but for sample purposes. Um, and let's say that for that water, then we have grass here on the outside. And we want to make sure that we don't have overlapping areas between the grass and the water, right? Especially eventually if you transition to QGIS to do this in there, you want to make sure that these lines are perfectly tracing each other so that you don't have overlapping land uses because that's going to throw off your weighted calculation in QGIS. Our workaround in DU for that is that they have an option for you to set the priority for the land use. So what I like to do is that I look at the overall land use, and this is mostly grass, right? So I can put a big shape here that's gonna cover the entire drainage area. And this is gonna be my grass shape because the majority is grass, right? And I have a little bit of water here, so I can place another shape around my water. Ugh. That. I have one more here. And then let's say I have a little bit of pavement here. Oops, let's look wide. So this one, I'm gonna bring this in a little bit. I'm gonna bring this in so that actually no, that's fine. It's okay. So the reason why I was okay with making my land use shape bigger than my drainage area is because anything that's outside of this drainage area is not going to be considered. So I would just want to make sure that everything here has a land use, you know, instead of having to be, I mean, you can be obviously be cleaner about it and not make it so wide. But for general, like to understand like how it computes it, um, anything that's outside of here, outside of this yellow boundary, is not going to be considered. So that's like the general um land use in this area. So now I can start placing those actual land use DU shapes. So if I come back to layout and if I come to place land use area,
This is so great. I was using like area fill. I just like you know what I mean? Like I was just like filling in the shape.
yeah,
This is
yes. And I wish so it took us a while to figure out that you could set priorities
yeah.
for these land uses because sometimes we're like, well, wait, like this is all grass, but I have a hole in the middle that's water.
Mhm.
And but DU doesn't let you have shapes like that because you can make a fill shape, right? Like cut a hole in a shape and it'll be empty. But DU doesn't like that. It doesn't recognize it. DU only recognizes like these basic shapes. So the workaround for that is
The layer.
the prioritizing. Yeah. So we do pick shape, and here is where you can select the pre-made, see, use the pre-made land uses that the text dot library has. But if you want to use your own, we use the ones that we've made in the catalog, which is, in my opinion, preferred. You leave it as user defined. And here you can name your land use or leave that prefix and it'll start naming it. And so now I'm gonna left click, accept, pick shape. That's the method I want to use. I'm gonna select my shape. And now it also turned into a OIDDU shape. So it's no longer a basic microstation shape. If I click here, if I click on the shape and hover over it, I see the utility properties. And this is where I can make sure that the correct land use settings are set. So we selected user defined, right? But if you leave it as user defined, that means that you're going to have to manually type in uh, the number each time, which can lead to you typing in the wrong number by accident. So what we do instead is that you have to make sure that it's set to user defined, and then it will allow you to click here, land cover type, and you'll see those options that we made in the catalog. So now it's going to be grass, and we know that it's going to pick up the C value that was assigned to that grass in the catalog in the earlier steps. And here's where you would set your priority of the land use. So because we want the water shapes to be picked up, we would set the grass to have the lowest priority because it's going to see this shape and then it's going to see the grass shape beneath it. Um, but we wanted to calculate this shape. So we're going to set it as lowest, so 0. Um, and then that's okay for that. We can close this. And we're going to do the same for these other land use shapes. So place land use area, pick shape, user defined, left click accept the pick shape, pick my shape. And that's that. I'm going to go ahead and do these other ones. Pick shape to accept, select my shape. And I'm going to do one more. And so now I have all my land use. Now if you had, let's say for the prioritizing, because the grass was set to lowest, it's going to pick up this pavement area and this water area and this water area. So it's going to see these three shapes first, ignore any grass that's beneath those shapes technically, and only account for that. But if you have an island, let's say, inside of this pond, um, then that's when you would set the priority for the island as number two, and then the priority for the water is number one, and then the grass as your lowest priority. So that it picks up. Yes. Yes. Um, so then that's that. So I have my land use. Well, I need to make sure that it's pulling the right land use category. So user defined. I'm gonna switch this to water. And I'm gonna say this to 1 so that it picks up more than water, more than the grass. And then same thing here. User defined for water. And then we said 1. I think I did that backwards. So yeah, okay. Modification. Change your, so whenever you, it's a little bit of back work, because when you place the shape, when you place the land use shape, your only options are user defined or the pre-made land use categories made by a text dot. So we select user defined as a start off, but when we come in here and clean things up, then we change it to catalog. And then we change the land cover type to what it needs to be. And you'll see this number change now.
Okay.
And so you can double check to make sure that you're using the right one like that. So this was grass. So edit from the prior step is make sure that this is the catalog. Catalog. And so here we're gonna do water catalog 1, priority 1. Here. And you don't have to close this window again and again. I don't know why I'm doing that. So catalog water 1, it's picking up the correct value, priority 1, and then my pavement, my land cover type, I want it to use from the catalog, and I'm going to change this to pavement. And I'm going to change my priority to 1. So pavement 0.9, 1, correct. Water 1, 1, that's correct. Water 1, 1, that's correct. Grass, catalog 35, land use 0, that's correct. So now that I have everything set, I can finally run it. If I go to analysis and you press compute, this error is due to the inlet type. So because I selected a curb inlet, I have to establish the longitudinal slopes, which for our purpose, we're not building a storm sewer system. So let me change my node so that it doesn't
Requires less.
exactly. So if I want to change a node, sorry, I was already doing it. If I'm gonna change a node that I already established, I can click on the node and hover over it. Click on the properties here, not the utility properties. You have to click on the first one. So this one here. And in this drop-down menu, you can change the feature definition, so the inlet type. I can't remember. Let's see, let me try a head wall. Try an SET.
The Jeopardy theme song always starts playing in my head.
I know. It's gonna crash or not. This is our pain, Ted.
Well,
This is our pain when making changes in Qt.
Just wait.
This crash often?
It does.
Yeah.
That's why whenever I see it doing that, right now I see the wheel spinning, but sometimes it's just my white arrow. But when I see that I can't, like, it doesn't highlight for me to click, I'm like, okay, I'm not even gonna click. And what I do to check if it's back is I just scroll. And once I see it scrolling, I'm like, okay, it's back.
The wheel, spinning wheel, is that something to do with maybe the processing power of the machine? You
Could
think?
be. It could also be that our it works slow in the office too. But right now it might be working even slower because I'm remoting into our
Yes.
server, and that's where our library is saved. So
it also just, mine also loads.
pretty
So-
slow. Yeah. Yeah, because even in the office, it's like that. So let's try it. Oh, okay. So because I changed, and this is good troubleshooting because it happens whenever you're doing the model, but right now with the error that I got, I can open it here. This is the error message that I got, and it's saying that the catchment is active, but there's no outflow element specified, meaning that it doesn't have an inlet assigned to it for it to run. And the reason why it doesn't have one anymore was because I changed the inlet type. So it basically reset the drainage area. Now the drainage area doesn't know where to go. So I have to go back to the drainage area, click on the drainage area, hover over it, come to the utility properties. And if I come here to the outflow element, you see how it says none? I have to select outflow element, come here, and click on my node. And so now it's assigned. So now I have somewhere to go. And I hit compute. And now it actually ran. So now it's good. So there's no errors. I can close this. And so now if I click on this drainage area, go out of the utility properties, and if I come down, I'll see my flow. Yes.
It's awesome.
So
So you
you
were saying that it didn't work for something. What was the thing you said it didn't work for? Like automatically delineating? Is that what?
yes. So when you automatically delineate, you have to, I can show you what it does. It doesn't even make sense. I select the surface. And I quickly tried it last night with this surface, hoping that like the area in Williamson is like it's hillier, so it would maybe it's not as flat as Houston, so maybe it'll pick it up better.
No,
But it didn't.
very, very open roads.
I tried for you. I'm sorry. Um, but what you do if you wanted to do that is you come to the place node tool. Well, first of all, you need to have an active terrain. Otherwise, it's not going to do it. So you bring in your surface, click on the surface, hover over it, make sure it's active. So right now it's active. This I already said it active. And so now I can come to place node. And let's say I'm gonna place this inlet. I'm going to and make sure here, down here where it says catchment delineation, it's check marked. That means that it's gonna automatically delineate the drainage area. So when I'm gonna select my reference element for the node elevation, I'm gonna select my surface. Or actually, well, if you're not doing the hydraulic, if you're doing an actual hydraulic analysis, don't select the surface. Type in your own elevation, otherwise it will lock you to that elevation. So I'm gonna right click. Okay. Then I can set my elevation. I'll leave it as that. My absolute means my rotation. If I want to use my my rotary alignment, or just rotate it myself, I'm gonna rotate it myself. And I'm gonna place it somewhere where it looks like here. It's clear D. So place it here. I'm gonna rotate it. Do you see it?
No.
Right? Let me restart. So place node. Make sure catchment delineation is check marked. I have my node type. Your absolute. And rotate.
Maybe right click.
No, now it's gonna place it.
Maybe right click. Oh, there it goes.
And there's my drainage area.
Ah, so cute.
There's my drainage area.
Oh my.
So yeah, it can do it, but
Yeah, it's just not.
it's not it. Um, but yeah, so that's one drainage area. But if you have multiple, I guess you can review your results individually per drainage area, like going to the utility properties here, right? You have your area, your flow time, your intensity, and everything that it's used to calculate the rational flow. But you can also review your results for multiple drainage areas in this analysis tab, flex table. And if you come down to catchment table, you'll see every single drainage area that's being computed in the file. So this is that wonky one that it's self-delineated, but this is the one that we made.
Okay.
And this is just better for transferring your wherever you're going to import.
The time of concentration for that tiny one being 10 minutes is crazy.
So I think the text.seed file does specify that the minimum
Oh, it's 10 minutes.
is 10 minutes.
Okay, I was like, yeah.
So it assumes from a drainage design perspective, if it's less than 10 minutes, you assume 10 minutes.
So. Is that standard just in?
Mhm. But yeah, it wouldn't be 10 minutes. But you can change that. But you shouldn't change it because it should be 10 minutes. But yeah, that's how you develop your hydrology here. Does that make sense?
I learned a lot. I barely started getting into the drainage and utilities. I don't know. What's the name for that thing in the top left where you select your like,
Like the drop down menu.
yeah, is it like the mode you're in? Or like, it's not the workspace, not the workspace.
It's not the yeah
Word
workflow.
workflow, yeah. I've just started getting into the DU workflow and so that was a good, I just learned a bunch of new tools that I didn't know.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, if anything comes up, like sometimes you get random warnings, and yeah, you can Google them, but like, I mean, feel free to reach out with
Yeah.
something. I'm glad we got a little bit of error messages to kind of
I also
troubleshoot
didn't know
it.
you could check what your messages were.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was interesting as well. I didn't know there was a notifications.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, in the beginning when I started using it, every time I wanted to reread my message, I would recompute so that I could get to pop up again.
that's what I'm feeling.
But yeah,
That.
but you can go to notifications here. Um, but yeah, that's that. Maybe we have some time to go through the surface. Do you want to go through that?
The one
Like creating the surface or
from the sorry, from this or
like from LiDAR?
okay, yeah, yeah. So we really
We can. Oh yeah, take a break. Yes,
I
right.
think that'll be good. Yeah.
Use the coffee. Yeah, that's too much.